Humans, we are all just getting by. We're all putting in the hours. We are all trying to survive on this big blue tailgate party hurtling through the cosmos, making ourselves useful so we can survive. You and me, we've been on the planet a while. Me a little longer, but let's not make it about experience. I could claim superiority because I'm part dinosaur, and you are, as far as we know, not. So, like, from an evolutionary standpoint, you can kind of sit the fuck down when it comes to how we treat the general planet. You figure a slow death by industry is an unfortunate outcome of progress, and my ancestors were murdered by space. So, like, I get it, though. My kind did not evolve to invent sandwiches, slow drip coffee, and the Nintendo Switch. So, I don't know, maybe we're both right. Just one of us has thumbs. We disagree on many things. Prices, parking, what is and what is not worth standing in line for, and whether or not a discarded half sandwich is in fact trash, when that's just you being sensitive. Up here on the high wire where my kind chills out, a tossed out sando is a complimentary delight. Free of charge, but to you it's a sign that the alley has gone to shit. And while I can see that from a municipal angle, for the POV of me, that's a sign someone out there feeds the birds tuppence a bag. To the pigeons, it's gratis. It's all just a matter of how you look at everything is what I am saying. So when it comes to what is and what is not and what shall be, and maybe we don't, but let's fucking do it. We're gonna be naughty. You gotta have perspective. Now, I have never been to a Buc-Ee's. In fact, I am such a perched bird that I thought it was pronounced Busey's. And I figured it was a chain of stores with a Gary Busey theme. Not actually owned by the Buseys, it's spelled different, so I figured they couldn't get the blessing. It's just in recognition. Like if you go in there, there would be an eyewear section where you could rock a pair of Mexican horn rims like he did in Buddy Holly. Or like a whole section devoted to 90s pipeline t-shirts and cotton beach pants a la Agent Angelo Pappas from Point Break. Just like a general celebration of all things Busey. And while I would have loved to find a place to buy a full-on knitted Afghan of Peter Kias in a silver suit like a walking leftover saying his iconic The Lions, Tigers, the Bears, oh my, from Gary's quintessential role in Predator 2. Instead, I find out that Buc-Ee's is a chain of large format travel centers known for their clean restrooms, brisket, Sammy's, jerky, and something called beaver nuggets. Plus, it's called Buc-Ee's, which came about because the founder, Arch Beaver Applin, combined his childhood name, the name of his Labrador retriever, Buck, and the old mascot for the Ipana toothpaste, Buc-Ee the Beaver, who was actually created, by the way, since you asked, by Disney animator David Hilberman, hold on, and voiced by original Mouseketeer Jimmy Dodd, who also wrote Buc-Ee's iconic Ipana toothpaste jingle, Brusha, 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 which you remember from the girls' sleepover scene from Grease, where Jan does the impression of the beaver brushing his teeth. There, now you got trivia answers for days. You're welcome, I'm just trying to be useful. Anyway, Buc-Ee's. They got a full-on semi-aquatic animal for a mascot, a beaver. Frankenstein from several beaver-themed sources, including another cartoon beaver. It's all beaver right down to his nuggets. So you'd think semi-aquatic animals would be welcome in said Buc-Ee's. But this, as it turns out, is a matter of perspective because you cannot bring a duck into a Buc-Ee's. Stop me if you've heard this one. A duck walks into a Buc-Ee's, shoots vids for the socials, and is asked to leave by the staff because they do not allow pets inside the store, posts the vid on YouTube on January 19, 2024, and sets off a whole debate on whether or not a service duck should or should not be able to go into a convenience store. Now, that might sound like the most niche 2024 joke ever told, but it actually happened. The duck's name is Wrinkle, and she performs and is owned by circus jugglers Justin Wood and Joyce Kung. Wrinkle got famous on the Soch for walking around in red shoes, which makes sense. That's fucking adorable. Who does not love a duck in shoes? I can't pull off that look. I gotta wear a tie because I want to get a job. But still, I get it. When you're famous, you can rock whatever, and people will say it is style. Just ask Harry Styles. Wrinkle, I'll take a minute with that. Sorry, I'm dropping hot Harry Styles takes. Wrinkle even ran in the New York City Marathon and won a medal. So, you know, what's your excuse? Anyway, Wrinkle goes into a Buc-Ee's in a baby carriage, and Wrinkle's being adorable, pulling out all the fan service, waddling, honking, wagging her tail and stuff, messing around. And they were approached by a staff member who informed them that only service dogs are allowed inside of Buc-Ee's. to which her owner responded that Wrinkle was a service duck and could provide 3 forms of identification to prove that Wrinkle is in fact of service. Then, a third employee told them that if it was a dog, you would have to be on a leash, to which the owner responded, I can put her on a leash, and was informed that if he did, it would be fine. But instead, pretended to put her on a leash and walk her around to the delightment of everyone. Hands were clapped. The employees, realizing they were harsh, they reevaluated their own insecurities. Why, even the mayor came by to take a picture with the whimsical waterfowl. Everyone cheered, and now Wrinkle's picture hangs confidently on the wall at Buc-Ee's in Tennessee. Psych! This is America! They gave him a final warning, called the fucking cops. The cops came, and Wrinkle has been banned from not just that Buc-Ee's, but all Buc-Ee's. The owner would be charged with trespassing, duckless or duck heavy. If he is seen in any Buc-Ee's, fuck you, do not bring a fucking duck into Buc-Ee's. Now, from one perspective, this makes sense, because Buc-Ee's has a no pets policy. There is a sign on the door that says no pets. Yeah, they sell pet stuff and have a fucking rodent for a mascot, but you can't bring a beaver into Buc-Ee's. Is that irony? I don't know. I didn't make up irony. You did. Which I think makes this whole conversation ironic, but that's a you problem, humans. You can, however, bring a service animal into a Buc-Ee's. That policy is clear. The Americans with Disabilities Act requires state and local government agencies, businesses, and nonprofit organization-covered entities that provide goods and services to the public to, quote, make reasonable modifications in their policies, practices, or procedures when necessary to accommodate people with disabilities. The service animal rules fall under this general principle, but none of that fucking matters here because, and I'm sorry to Deuce in your duck feed, there is no such thing as a service duck. Service animals are defined as only dogs and apparently some species of mini horse. Because if you can lead a horse to water, and those dogs and little horses are trained to assist humans with disabilities. Now, granted, you don't have to have identification for that. In fact, if you are stopped for having a service dog or an assistant pony, according to the ADA management, they are only allowed to ask 2 questions. 1, is the animal required because of a disability? And 2, what work or task has the animal been trained to perform? They don't even have to wear a vest. That just makes it easier. Emotional support animals, on the other hand, are super totally 100% a thing. And that comes down to you and your therapist. They don't have to be registered, and they also don't have to be certified because that doesn't really do anything. So no, there is no such thing as a fucking service duck, no matter how cool that sounds. So basically, Buc-Ee saw a dude dressed like a thrift store mannequin pushing a pond bird in a baby stroller in a store that is known for a lake rat and was like, yeah, pretty sure that doesn't jive with the overall vibe of our aquatic animal-themed convenience stop, which I do believe is actually fucking irony, which doesn't make it any less understandable that they asked the city hipster to take his fucking duck out of a convenience store. But from a different perspective, it's a kind of fucked up thing to do to a duck. Wrinkle was just doing their job, bringing joy, waddling in cute shoes for the YouTube subs and being generally adorable. What's the harm, Buc-Ee's? Duck's got a hot gig. Don't shit on Wrinkle's vibe, man. Not to mention, Buc-Ee's kind of has a rap for being dicks to people because they should by policy. March 28th, 2023. Police were called to make a report on an employee who was terminated for eating a piece of Bohemian garlic jerky valued at $1.12, caught on camera, but no arrests were made. They just wanted it noted. And then April 21st, 2023, the police were called on a 77-year-old employee for eating a piece of cheese valued at 4 cents. No arrests were made, but they wanted it on the record in case there's like a jerky or cheese discrepancy or something. But if you can't keep track of your cheese, you got no business selling it. That's in the Bible. Whether having a tasty snack or bringing a duck into to boost morale, it sounds like Buc-Ee's wants you to know that they don't allow fun because it's against policy. Well, fuck that. Have you been in public lately? If it's not the frightening political discourse, it's shitty opinions about movies. Not to mention, ever since the pandemic, no one has had a small talk anymore. No, I don't know how I'm doing, Todd. How are you doing? The fuck does that even mean? I'm breathing, aren't I? That's a plus. Who knows how much longer the way your species is fucking up my ecosystem. I'm just glad I didn't get tested this morning for microplastics in my blood, because that information's really gonna ruin my fucking lunch hour, Todd. Plus, when I want to check out, I go on TikTok, and I found out Congress passed a bill bill to the Senate to effectively ban the fucking thing. If the Chinese parent company doesn't divest from it, can't do anything about universal health care, background checks, allow women control over their bodies, gender-affirming care, or public schools, but you can outlaw fun real fucking fast. That's how I'm doing, Todd. So if I want to bring a duck into a fucking Buc-Ee's just to make the day go by, then let me waddle my fucking woes away with some beaver nuggets. But that's just from my perspective. We're all just working through it best we can. And by the way, I am available for service work and emotional support anytime. I am certified, but not that that matters. But I do need to cover some bills. So hit me up on the socials, and I promise I'll stay the fuck out of Buc-Ee's. I love you. Good night.